Check the description for the following discount codes. This isn't really like a review video. I've just, although I am going to cover some aspects of the GoPro, I've just got off of live chat with GoPro customer services, trying to get this GoPro Hero 10 Black replaced under warranty, right? It's going to be a bit of a long story and a bit of a rant because, to be honest, quite disappointed with the customer service and a little bit peed off at the amount of hoops I'm having to jump through just to get a camera replaced under warranty. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to share this with people. You may or may not find it interesting, but this is what's happened. Anyway, I bought this back in September because I've been on a mountain biking holiday in Wales with my missus and another mate of mine. Nice little cottage, old miner's cottage, just down the road from Bike Park, Wales. Had a great week. My mate had a cheapy Chinese GoPro equivalent copy type thing that we used. And I thought, do you know what? I could do with a second camera for my YouTube channel, maybe for some nice stabilised B-roll, or just as a second camera on a tripod, or when I do my live retro streams, I can have this sat in front, shooting at us with my main camera here, recording the game that we're playing, do some head or helmet cam footage in the sim rig, all this sort of thing. So I thought, do you know what? I'll grab one of these GoPro Hero 10 Blacks. They're not cheap. They were like 500 notes at launch, but they were doing a special offer whereby if you take out their subscription or premium subscription, whatever it's called, for 50 notes, you get 150 quid off or £100 off, whatever it was. So I thought, bosh, I'll have one of those. That'll do nicely. Anyway, I've hardly used it since I bought it. I mean, like probably not even once a month. I've had a back injury. I haven't been able to do any mountain biking. When I tried to use it for some live streaming, and I'll get into this a bit more in a minute, there was all sorts of issues. So I've not really used it much. And when I did use it, I encountered issues, which again, I'll go into in a minute. But recently, because I've been doing flying lessons, I thought it would be cool to have this in the cockpit behind me, videoing my flying lessons, not to put on YouTube, but just for my own personal records, something to look back on, you know, in 40 years when I'm older and, you know, remember how it was to learn to fly for the first time. So this is what I've been doing. And the ball ache I've experienced with this camera now that I use it regularly has warranted me trying to get it replaced under warranty. So let's just go through the problems I've had with it and then the problems I've had with customer service trying to get a replacement. I've actually made some notes here because it's quite a long list. First and foremost, it freezes up all the time. And what I mean by that is you got to turn it on, it will beep, but it won't actually turn on. Or you'll go to use the quick capture. If you've got that enabled, that means from an off status like this, you can press the record button, it will fire up and start recording at your last used settings. Nothing happens. It will do this, I don't know, 10 to 20% of the time. The only way to get it to unfreeze is to remove the battery, put the battery back in, and then it comes to life instantly. Now that, you know, that's a fault right there in itself. And this has the latest firmware, of course. I've updated it as and when I've been prompted to, and I've even done a manual firmware update, which I'll also talk about in a minute. So freezing, first and foremost, was a problem. Then, when you do get it to come on and work and record some footage, you plug your USB cable in, the one supplied by GoPro, to transfer it off onto your PC. Doesn't work. The charging light lights up and the battery indicator shows it's charging, but there's no USB connection. Computer doesn't make that, you know, bing bong sound that you've plugged in a USB device. This doesn't say USB connected or whatever it says on the screens. Nothing. Just sits there as if you plugged in a phone charger to charge it. You know, unplug it 20 times, try 20 different USB ports, try different PCs, because I've got 4 PCs in this house, makes no difference. How do you correct the issue? Remove the battery, put the battery back in, plug the USB cable in, and it works. So just basic stuff. I want it to turn on and record video. And then when you've recorded video, I want to take the video off the camera and put it on my computer. These are basic functions that just don't seem to work all the time. And the way to cure them is to remove the battery. It's not how it should be. You know, you can see we've obviously got issues here. The next fault is the time and date associated with the recordings, and in fact the whole GoPro, is never right. No matter how many times I go in the options and set the time and date, it is always wrong. I don't know why, I don't have a clue. It's not because like I'm pulling the battery out and putting it back in, because when you do pull the battery out and put it back in, the time and date is lost. And this is something that shouldn't be the case. This is 2022. If the battery goes flat, and you need to put in another battery when you're out doing a day's shooting, why is the time and date lost? Or maybe that is a fault with mine, I don't know. Perhaps they shouldn't do that, perhaps it should be stored. But either way, the time and date never stays correct. And if you remove the battery and put the battery back in, it also doesn't stay correct. So that's just a pain in the arse, because I thought I'd lost a load of footage, because when I eventually got the USB to connect, the dates on the files were all wrong. I'm like, that wasn't the day I was out flying. I was out flying on the 2nd, and the files are showing the 26th or whatever it is. And it was only when I actually clicked on the files, I was like, oh no, that is today's flying. Like, and then I, sort of paid attention and realised the time and date was always wrong, regardless of how many times I set it. That's a small thing, but if you're someone that has a lot of footage, if you're a daily vlogger, and your files all have the same date on that you've done across a whole week, that's really confusing from a sort of organisation, and management point of view. It just shouldn't be that way. In addition to that, talking about your footage and your files, corruption. I've had it turn on a few times, eventually, usually after having to pull the battery because it's frozen, and it'll say something like restoring files or something along those lines. And then when I, do get it to plug into the PC, some of the files are missing or they're corrupt. Now, I've tried the included micro SD card, and I bought a new, decent spec SD card and tried that as well. And this sort of corruption of files or losing of files, that's the least frequent fault, but it still happens even with the new SD card. And it's one listed as compatible on the GoPro website, and all the spec is correct, obviously. I've made sure of this. So that's just there's nothing worse than recording something like a whole flying lesson, could be an hour and 20 minutes long, or even 2 hours long. We'll be doing longer ones soon. And then it's lost, or you've only got a 15-minute snippet of it, And the whole point is I want to look back on these in the future and remember what I've done, and also look back on them at the end of my lesson and analyse particular points, whether it be landings or certain manoeuvres, to see whether I've made any mistakes and where I can improve to help me advance in my training. So that's annoying. Again, no idea why it does it. Then there is the inconvenience of battery drain. This GoPro will run itself flat when not in use for absolutely no reason. I've turned off all the wireless connectivity options, because you can have this in like a semi-standby state whereby you can turn it on from your mobile phone and start recording things. Handy feature to have, especially like if you've got it head mounted, you want to use the preview on your phone, make sure it's pointing in the right direction, then press record on the phone. Useful feature. But if you leave that on, it stays, I guess it uses a Bluetooth connection to your phone the whole time, which runs the battery fat. Now, even with all that turned off, and then the quick capture off as well, so pressing this record button won't turn it on. So fully off, as much as I can make it off, you leave this for a week, you come back, it's completely flat. This is a lithium-ion battery, presumably, same as what we're going to find in laptops and mobile phones and what have you. It should last months before it goes flat. When it's fully off, properly off. Weirdly, it doesn't actually say, or does it say? Oh yeah, lithium ion, yeah it is. So there's no reason for this to go flat when the GoPro is properly off, which means something is drawing power. And as I say, all wireless connectivity turned off. Now, talking about that feature where you can use your mobile phone, because I have to turn all the wireless connectivity off so that it doesn't drain the battery as fast as if I leave it on. If I leave it on, it's flat in a few days. I do want to use that feature. So when I turn the GoPro on, I have to go into the options, into preferences, into wireless connectivity and turn it on. And then when I finish, go all back in there and turn it off. And do that every single time I want to do a head mount in the rig video. One of the reasons I don't do very many is because it's ball ache to do. So that shouldn't be the case. Why is it running flat? Why can't we have that like Bluetooth connection only active when you power it up by turning on the power button? Why have it draining power the whole time? Or why not have an option to have one or the other? You know, why does it have to be like that or not at all? Terrible idea. And then the other thing with the battery is it seems to take ages to charge. Like, I'm not talking over USB out my PC, I'm talking using a 3 amp wall socket. It's considering the battery is tiny. In fact, let's have a little look of the capacity of this battery. It's 1720 milliamp hour. That is not a big battery. And yet it seems to take like 3 hours to charge or something ridiculous like that. But I don't know, it's just another thing that annoys me. Then we get on to more sort of functional issues rather than crashes and corruption and freezing up and faults. I thought it'd be good to use this. When I thought about buying this, I'm like, yeah, you know, head-mounted stuff in the rig, live stream as a webcam, because webcams are generically crap. The webcam over USB function limits you to one resolution, a fixed frame rate, a fixed shutter speed, a fixed ISO. You literally can't adjust any of the camera settings. Now, I wanted to use this to point at a CRT television. Now, to be able to do that and without horrible tearing of the CRT, you need to set your shutter speed to match the refresh rate of the screen. Well, you can't change the shutter speed when using it as a webcam. You can't even change, I think all you can change is your field of view from like narrow to linear to wide and to super wide. You can't choose the resolution, so you can't choose 720, 1080, 2160p, 4K, 5.3K. It's got all these functionality. You can't choose any of them. You're stuck at 1080p. You're stuck at 30 FPS, I think it is, and the shutter speed presumably is 60 to match the 30 FPS frame rate. Why can't we change those? You can change them for everything else when you're recording. Why can't I change it when I'm using it as a USB webcam? And in addition to that, the image that comes out of it over USB is horribly compressed. Like, I mean, thankfully, when I do my retro live streams, we just have this in a relatively small box. It doesn't look too bad. If I was to full screen that, there's physically blocks of compression you can see, like watching an old video from 15 years ago. It's just, it shouldn't be that way. You know, there's no need for it. It's an expensive camera. We're in 2022, I'm supposed to die in 2021. No need for it. So what I bought and also on a minor note, there's no audio input either. You've only got the built-in mics. So I bought the media mod, right? Another 90 notes, which gives me 2 additional microphones that are both awful, and a windsock, totally pointless. The mics on that are crap, we'd never ever use them. The built-in mics are better than the ones that come in the media mod. Useless. But what it does give me is a 3.5mm audio in, jack, and an HDMI out. Now, I'm yet to even try the HDMI, because I thought, I'll use the HDMI out instead of the USB webcam functionality. I haven't even bothered trying it yet because I've had so much hassle with it, I just haven't got around to it. So I have no idea whether that would then, hopefully, the idea in my head was that will then stream the video at whatever resolution, shutter speed and frame rate that I've chosen, and it will just send it over HDMI. Hopefully that's what it does. But as I say, I've had too many issues. It needs to go back and be replaced. And it gives you another USB-C on there as well, and you know, some cold shoe mounts on the side and on the top. But another 90 notes just to have audio in. Yes, there is, I believe the old Hero 9 sort of audio dongle works, but I haven't tried it, and I wanted the HDMI functionality as well. But that's a lot of money for a pair of piss poor mics and effectively just a couple of additional ports that are coming out of the already existing USB-C. You know, a different adapter that was a quarter of the price would have been preferable. So yeah, that's what I've done to try and alleviate the issues. We've not been able to change shutter speed, resolution, blah, blah, blah. We've yet to know if it works. Talking about streaming, this has the function to do like live wireless streaming over a Wi-Fi connection. I thought this would be great, head mounted in the rig, stream some live racing or whatever, or even just back into OBS to record it and then produce it in a video. But here we run into more issues, similar to the USB webcam issues. For the live streaming, you can't change the field of view. It's stuck on either wide or super wide, whichever one I can't quite remember. And it just looks stupid. sat in the rig with this fisheye view. I mean, Dirt Rally looks stupid enough, but if I was doing ACC or something, which has proper, triple monitor support and geometric correction, you want to use the linear field of view on the GoPro so it doesn't bend and fisheye the image. If you've seen Will at Boosted Media's videos, he uses one of these, he'll be using the linear mode because otherwise everything looks all fish-eyed and crap. If you want to do this wirelessly, then that's the only option you have. It has to be super wide or wide, I think it's super wide. It just looks horrible. So another basic function where you should be able to choose what field of view, along with resolution and frame rate and ISO and all the other basic camera functionality that you expect to be able to change because it's a camera. Like it's not like a phone, you're trying to use it as a camera. This is a camera. Its sole purpose in life is to record video footage. That's all it's got to do. And it's supposed to be the best there is, from GoPro at least. Anyway, but yeah, that's annoying. So anyway, that's the ball ache I've had with this camera itself. Now, obviously the faults, hopefully, are exclusive to my unit, actually, the actual proper faults, and other people out with GoPro Hero 10s aren't experiencing these. And this is why I wanted it replaced under warranty. So, been on the live chat with GoPro customer service, and I explained, bought this in September or whenever it was, haven't used it much. Now that I'm using it more often, these faults that have been there pretty much since I've had it are causing me no end of ball ache. Can you replace it, please? So, this is where the horrible customer service experience begins. They asked me a couple of basic questions, and one of those questions is, are you running the latest firmware? To which, of course, I said, yes, I am running the latest firmware. They said, usually the problems you describe are caused by firmware issues or SD card problems. Have you formatted the SD card? Yes, I formatted the SD card. Have you tried a different SD card? Yes, I have actually tried a different SD card, and the problem still persists. So they tell me to do a manual firmware update. And I said to them, does this require the use of the USB socket? I said, because one of the problems I've got is USB not always connecting. And what I don't want to do is be updating the firmware over USB and have it drop out and then brick the camera. I mean, I want it replaced anyway, so it shouldn't really matter. But they said, no, you don't use the USB. You have to plug your micro SD card, take it out of here, into your PC. And then put the firmware files onto the SD card and put them in here. And I said, well, I don't have a micro SD card to USB adapter. Like, how am I supposed to do that? They're like, well, you'll need to buy one. I said, for me to be able to claim on the warranty to have my broken camera replaced, you want me to go and buy an additional piece of hardware to flash some firmware to try and fix a problem that I shouldn't have to fix in the first place. I said, whilst a micro SD card adapter to USB is not expensive, I'm the customer. I shouldn't have to go out and buy what's effectively diagnostic equipment to try and solve a problem with my camera that I've paid full retail for. You should just replace it because it's broken under warranty. That's literally why I'm talking to you. Anyway, he said, well, if you don't do it, the warranty won't be accepted. I said, what do you mean the warranty won't be accepted? I've got a broken camera. I need it replaced. It's not a complicated situation. I bought it. It doesn't work. Give me another one, right? Anyway, said he wouldn't do it. So I got micro USB to micro SD to USB adapter. I did what they said. I flashed the firmware. Didn't make any difference, right? I'm back on the chat again. Some time had passed here. He said, right, okay, no problem. Can you take photographs of the front, the back, and the serial number, which is inside the battery compartment, and to be honest, isn't the easiest to take pictures of. It's literally like halfway in there. But I did, I managed it, got it done, no problem. He said, and can you also take videos showing each of the problems that you've described in our conversation? And I said, hold on a minute. I said, why do I, as a customer, need to jump through all these hoops to get my broken GoPro replaced? I said, what if I don't have another camera? What if it takes me 5 hours of sitting here, turning this on and off, trying to take videos for every single one of those faults to materialise. You know, because they don't happen all of the time. They just happen a good portion of the time. But I could be sat here for ages trying to get every single one of those faults to show whilst I'm recording it with my phone or the camera that I'm talking to you guys on now. I said I shouldn't have to jump through all these hoops. The camera's faulty. I just want a replacement, right? Anyway, he said, I'm sorry, it's just, you know, you need to prove that it's broken, that there's a problem with it. I said, why do I need to prove there's a problem with it? I said, I'm here asking for a replacement, right? I'm happy to return my broken one for you to send me a new one. Why would I waste my own time and your time pretending that I have a broken GoPro, send it back, only to then be sent another non-broken GoPro because my one isn't broken? It's obviously broken, or I wouldn't be talking to you. I wouldn't want to send it back. Why do I need to prove it? Why do I need to jump through these hoops? It's beyond ridiculous. No one goes, do you know what? I think today I'm going to pretend I've got a broken GoPro and I'm going to email GoPro and I'm going to ask to return it and get them to send me another one. And whilst I do that, I won't have a GoPro to record any videos with. But I'm going to do it just for fun because there's nothing really wrong with my GoPro. I'm just pretending. I mean, the idea is ridiculous. Anyway, I sat there with my phone. I managed to get a video clip of it freezing because that's what it does most often. And they're like, you need to upload this to Google Drive or YouTube. Right, no problem, I'll do it to YouTube, it's fine. So I uploaded that. They gave me a link whereby I then forward them the photographs they requested and a link to the video footage. I did that. But I could only get video footage of it freezing. That's all I could do. That's all it would do at the time. Anyway, a couple of days later, I plugged the USB in, wasn't working. Right, grab my phone, let's get some video footage of me plugging the USB in. And it didn't work through the USB on this either. So didn't matter what I did. No, just USB's not. Got that video. Went back to the link they gave me. This case is no longer open. I'm like, oh, what's going on here then? Are they sending me a new one? I've not had any emails, any contact, nothing. So I go back onto chat again. And they're like, oh, you haven't done the SD card flash manual update. I said, I have. They said, oh, you told us you hadn't do it. You couldn't do it. I said, in the first conversation, I said I couldn't do it. I've since bought my SD card to USB adapter and done what you asked. Like, they'd actually closed the case because in the first chat session, I said that I hadn't got a micro SD to USB adapter, so the warranty claim was closed. Anyway, obviously get them to reopen it. So I sent 2 videos in total, and looking on YouTube, they haven't looked at either of them. Not once, not one single view on either of those videos. So why did I do it? What was I taking those videos for? What was the point? Anyway, this guy says to me, can I have the serial number? I said, I've already uploaded the serial number. He goes, oh, have you? I said, yes. He goes, well, let me look at the files. Oh, yeah, found that, no problem. I can see you bought it directly from us. Do you have your order number? I said, why would I have my order number? You've got the serial number. You know I bought it from you because you've just told me that I bought it from you. You've got my name, my address, photos of me holding the camera, videos of me demonstrating the problems. Why do you need my order number? Now, I was at my computer, so I got my emails up, I found the order number. But why am I having to jump through all these hoops just to get a replacement GoPro that's broken and prove that it's broken because I might be pretending it's broken for them to replace a perfectly good one with another perfectly good one for no reason? Anyway, got through all this. Warranty approved, Mr. Gosling. Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. So when will you be sending it out? Well, you need to return yours first, and then our repair team will take a look at it. Could take 10 to 14 days, maybe longer. I said, look, and this isn't entirely true. I said, I'm a content creator. Well, that's true. I am a content creator. I use my camera every day. That isn't true. I said, can't you get one out to me quickly? I said, if I don't have this camera for 14 days or more, I can't work for 14 days or more. Obviously, you guys know I don't make videos that often, but I do use it for my flying lessons. And more importantly, I'm just trying to get some sort of decent experience from them here, get them to replace the bloody camera for me, without having to wait 14 days. They said, no. They said, you need to return it first. I said, look, this just isn't good enough. All these hoops I've had to jump through because of a faulty item, and now I'm having to wait 2 weeks for a replacement. He goes, well, it looks like you've got the premium or the GoPro subscription, which entitles you to 2 no questions asked replacements throughout any 12-month period. You could always use that. I said, oh, you're right, I could do. I said, but the problem with that is there's a trade-in fee whereby you send the broken one in of £115. I'm not paying £115 to have a replacement GoPro set out because I'll send it out same day or next day instead of me having to wait 14 days when it's faulty and it should be being replaced under warranty. So the long and short of all this ball ache and waffle is this will be going back and I'm just going to have to wait the 10 to 14 days or however long they decide it will take, and hopefully they send me a replacement. What I half expect them to do is turn it on a couple of times and go, oh, that seems to be all right, and then just return it to me saying there's no fault found or some bullshit like that. You know how it is. It's just, oh, it's frustrating, it's exasperating, and to the point where I thought I'm making this video just so other people can share and feel in the ball ache I've had to experience, and perhaps just consider it before buying a GoPro. You know, maybe buy it from a shop locally so you can physically walk in and say, this one's broken, give me another one should you have any problems. Or just be prepared to jump through 100 hoops with GoPro Direct if you buy it from them, just to try and get your top of the range action camera replaced under warranty. Anyway, that is enough waffle and ball ache for anyone's Saturday morning. Thank you all very much for enduring 26 minutes and 37 seconds of me moaning about shit. I hope maybe you found it interesting or entertaining, or you're just here for shits and giggles. Who knows? I'll catch you all in the next video. As always, take it easy.